Hiya, guys. So I want to just do a quick introduction to me and what I'm writing about. Um, I want to specifically discuss the atheist's perspective today. It's going to be a quick video. I don't want to labor points that have been made by other people on Twitter and on YouTube. A lot of writing has been done about the current situation that we're in, where there seems to be an ideology spreading very similar to a religion. So, what I'm wanting to just make clear for myself in a video, because I don't really want to write about it. It's a very big topic. I just rather do it in a video. So technically, I am atheist. It's got a lot to do with my own experiences with the Catholic religion, with my family. I grew up surrounded by Catholics, but most of them, there were some very good people in the Catholic school I went to. Um, so that's I don't really have a problem with the schooling, the Catholic schooling so much. But I do have a problem with the hypocrisy of um, many followers of Catholicism. So I think there's some nuance in Catholicism that, um, again, is above my pay grade, but other people have written about it. I think Jordan Peterson even mentions things like that. But generally, I wanted to explain that I've actually stopped using the word atheist in anything related to myself. Um, and I don't think there's anything right now. Although I might have described myself as atheist, referring to the past. So the reason why I don't really want to do that is because I think new atheism is a religion. So new atheism under the woke umbrella, under the social justice umbrella, is and I'm kind of sad that I partook in that realm on social media in the past. Not this Vincent Syke South Africa handle. So I quite consciously deleted old accounts that I had because I realized I was on a nihilistic. I was supporting the nihilistic mission, which I don't want to support. If anything, I'm now on a mission to create the opposite. So I used an analogy today that I think psychology gives us the parts of the car or the vehicle or the canoe or the wagon or the sailboat. It's sailboat's more romantic. Let's say sailboat. The psychology gives us the working parts and the science of how the sailboat stays afloat. You know, but actually the journey is what it's all about, and I feel like the journey is myth, is mythology, is and I have to confess that or concede that I believe most religions are a a mythology that has been self-selected over the centuries to work the best. So as much as we now in the modern world can point at religion and say, oh, but that doesn't make sense, and oh, but that clearly didn't happen, we completely miss the point. So it's actually even feel like I'm, uh, I'm betraying my atheist friends, but um, we did miss the point. And I think that's from, now that I understand these things better, that's from the behaviorist kind of uh, Skinnerian Skinner's perceptions. And I know he didn't completely um, advocate for this view of the world. I know that, but the division from Freud in psychology into Jung and Adler shows you that once they also reached a peak of trying to understand through a scientific method where it just falls apart, because at the end of the day, you can't describe the journey of the human being in describing its parts, in describing the, the steering wheel of the car, or the sail of the boat. What you want to describe is, or what you want to narrate. I like the narrative approach. So what you want to narrate is the journey. Where are we going? And like that old phrase, the journey is the point. It's about the journey. It's not about the destination so much. The destination remains, I believe, until the day we die, remains a myth, something to strive for. This is the kind of stuff that Adler talks about. So, the keys that I find in these writings from the psychologists and from some of the myths, I'm trying to avoid going too deep into myth, because I feel like that's reverting back to the religious systems, and I'm very wary of that. I have like an aversion to it, to be honest. So I know Greek mythology is not really the same thing, but I still have an aversion to it. So as much as I am interested in the analogies that are made in Greek mythology, for me it's a little bit too close to the wire, if you see what I mean. Um, so I don't want to be overly rational either, because I really believe that myth plays a role. And I believe that so this is what I'm getting to, the thing that drives the human psyche and the human mind and the human, I'm trying to avoid those cliches of spirituality and the soul and all that, because I think they've got too many connotations to them, too many strings attached. So I really believe, from my own experience and from studying psychology and from a lot of it's got to do with my lessons from motivating people in my business. Um, People have to be striving uh, for something at any given point. When you take that away, you begin to die. So I really, I feel like that's why I use the analogy of the vehicle, the sailboat or the car. Um, that actually, ultimately, my instinct was, we have to understand how the car works first. So that's why I chose to study psychology and not, philosophy, because ultimately philosophy says a lot about the journey and the destination. But I feel like so many of us have broken cars, have a sailboat with holes in it, and we don't even know who the captain of the sailboat is, and we don't know where the sail is. We don't even know what the sail looks like, some of us. So if you think about it that way, you realize that um, you struggle to go on a journey. You move. So we all have movement. This is sort of an analogy that I've been building up over the last few weeks, because I used it the other day talking to someone else, that we sort of get washed onto the shore um, when we have a pathology, a psychopathology. We get washed onto the shore and we get beached and we stuck. And the rest of society's out on the ocean. They look like they're having fun. So you're watching from the shore and you're going, oh my God, everyone's having so much fun. They're all in the sun. They're all being, in the breeze, and they're free to move. But actually, if you look carefully, so many people are literally just going with the breeze. They're not actually going in a direction. So many of those people, if you look carefully, don't have a sail. They don't have a direction. They're floating, yes, so the success. They're floating. They're not beached, success. Yes, they're alive, success. Many of them are eating very well, success. But where are you going? This is it eats away at us. No matter, people can distract themselves for 10, 20, 30, 40 years even, but ultimately the horizon beckons. Where are you going? And then the next question is, how do you get there? So that's where I decided to study psychology, because I feel like psychology is look, here's the sail. or maybe you don't have a sail. Let's build a sail. Let's make a sail. Here's the sail. Now, where do you want to go? And what do you want to do on that journey? Um, at very least, you have an ability to guide your directions. You might not know what the destination is. In fact, I don't want to encourage my clients to have a direction, to have a destination necessarily, because I think there's some things that need to come before that. You need to have the ability to move first, and with the first few waves that you crest and you overcome, and you get into shallower water, and you start understanding the currents. There's so many currents in our lives that pull us that way and that way and that way. And then you start thinking, you know what? I heard about this island, the Seychelles. I heard about these islands that people just live in. I've been to the Seychelles. They just live in what appears to be mostly harmony and this abundance of food. And although it gets quite complicated because they have quite an isolated economy, but that's a different story. But you get what I'm saying. So it's only then when you see the movement that you start thinking, you know what, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to do something. So, yeah, so I don't want to make this too long. What I'm getting at is atheism has now been hijacked by the new atheists. And I never wanted to be an atheist. If you think about it carefully, it's exactly the opposite of what a real atheist concludes. The real atheist concludes is that there's too much ideology, there's too many cudgels that are used by people who've usurped power from the spirit or the goodwill. I don't want to use that kind of language. The goodwill of groups. They've usurped this power, and they use these systemic belief systems to cudgel us into what they think is the best behavior. So I feel like there's no getting, once you've perceived it, it's very hard to unperceive it. So I feel like, let me say, I was a believer, but I think the more accurate term is I became an atheist. I saw new atheism becoming in the ideology, and I realized that actually I don't support them. So I left a lot of groups. I left a lot of WhatsApp groups. I declined invitations for gatherings here in South Africa. There was an atheist South Africa group, because I was sensing this, there was way too much ideology enmeshed in this. And I'm like, but guys, the point is, we're supposed to be skeptic. That is the point of an atheist. An atheist is meant to be skeptic of everything. So when I go to college and I start reading in some of the prescribed reading, not all of it, a lot of it's really good, but some of it, I can see the thread of ideology again. But in the previous class, I was told to be critical. I was told to read critically. I was told to write critically. I was told to have critical thinking. So when I'm in the world of critical thinking, I'm in heaven. Excuse the pun, because that's skepticism, and skepticism allows us to navigate our own journey and to navigate our own waves, and find our own islands, because not everybody wants to go to the same island at the end of the day. So I'm going to cut it short there. I don't want to do long videos that drag on and on. I feel like people's tolerance levels kind of drop off at about 20 minutes. So that's just a little bit about what I think and what I believe. Just to be clear, that I really feel like healthy skepticism and critical thinking is meant to uplift us and to enlighten us. And I'm averse to pretty much any ideology. And I have to check myself sometimes, because I feel like ideology creeps in quite quickly. Just before we cut off, that's my page. That's one of my artworks, and that's another artwork that I use as my profile picture. That's my Twitter page. If you want to go have a look, I share ideas, and I share really interesting articles and papers and podcasts that I've come across on the journey. Now you know what I mean by the journey. Cheers.